first retirement, his baseball stint, his fight with Steve Kerr, and his time filming Space Jam. And Antoine, that schedule he had while filming and training with the gym they had set up there, I think that was my biggest takeaway from last night. We'll start with you, Twan. What was yours?
There's a couple of things. The first thing that stands out to me is that how Michael was able to use trash talking, one, to motivate himself, but also to motivate his teammates, especially in that last year. Any little thing that he can get an edge to motivate him, he took advantage of it, and he did it through trash talking. I was really surprised by that. Didn't know he trash talked that much, and didn't know he used it in such a positive way on his teammates where they actually responded with good basketball. Another thing that I took away from it is the baseball. I didn't know he took baseball as serious as he did, the effort that he put into baseball. And then the last thing is that the competitive part of it. I think we all know he was competitive, but I think there's only a few guys that was competitive about winning championships. That's himself, Bill Russell, Magic, and Bird. He's in the elite category of guys that want to win. I think I'm a competitor, but the level that he competes at is second to none.
Antoine, I have 2 takeaways and 2 questions for you. The first of all, what do you think about Jenna's dry seaweed snack at night? And the second question is Jordan's motivation by slights, that he was either looking for slights or just straight up making them up. You played 82 games 5 times in your career. Twice you played 81 games. Are those perceived slights necessary to get through the slog of the entire season?
Well, Jenna, I do like your late night stack pretty good. I wish I could get on that type of diet.
Thank you, Twan. Preach, much preach.
But I think for him, as you saw him get later into his career, I think he did need some motivation factors sometimes to motivate him. Obviously, he was playing for championships, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I think he wanted to obviously only win championships, so you had to give him the benefit of the doubt that he used every advantage, whether it was a regular season game, whether it was a playoff game, anything a guy did that was going to hurt the team, he took full advantage of that. So I think he needed that in order for him to keep his competitive edge up.
Nick, your takeaway from last night?
Well, those are great observations by all of you. I liked everything about the opening 4 minutes of the show except for seaweed and almonds, which sounds like a punishment of a yesteryear rather than something to treat yourself to on Mother's Day.
Don't knock it till you try it, my friend.
My goodness, Jenna. Okay, all right. But I had 2 significant takeaways from, and by the way, first of all, though, credit to Connor Schell and Libby Geist for doing what I think is the impossible. They were able to actually retrieve from the fire the tapes the NBA had burnt of the Bulls losing to the Magic. Like, though, I mean, if you weren't watching those games live, you've never seen it. I don't know, so I don't know how they did it. I don't know what type of archival they had to do to actually get that on screen, but credit to them. But my 2 major takeaways were, 1, we saw in that famous double nickel game in Jordan's first year back in '95, the final play of that game, where Michael Jordan did something that I've been told my entire adult life he never did, and for somehow this was part of his legend. Game on the line, ball in his hands, he's taken the shot. Unless, of course, Patrick Ewing comes to double him, and then Bill Winnington gets a layup, and it's the right basketball play. But I'd been told for a long time, no, win or lose, it's on me. And then in that Nick Anderson game, Bulls are up 1, Nick steals it from him, they get a layup, all of it, but now Bulls down 1. Chance for another iconic Jordan moment. And the double comes to him, and he attempts to make the right basketball play. Now he throws out of bounds, but it was interesting to see in real time that the right basketball play maybe has always existed, and we just kind of pretend certain guys only always take the shots. But my other big takeaway was this. When Jordan retired, there was a universal acknowledgement from Tom Brokaw to Dan Patrick to the damn inscription on the statue that says, the best there is, the best there ever will be, that Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player as of August of 1993 who had ever lived. And by the way, I agree with them up to that point in time. But it's just fascinating because I've also been told he was ineligible for that award because he had 3 rings at that point in time. Magic had 5. Kareem had 6. And I just, my whole, everything's been put on its axis, Antoine, because my whole adult life I've been told it's all about counting the rings and not the eye test, and that Jordan had 3 rings, so he couldn't have been the greatest ever, but there was the whole world saying he was the greatest ever. So those were my 2 major takeaways from last night, Antoine.
I think when you look at it, Nick, I know you're trying to head and get LeBron in the conversation at some point, but that's not about
I didn't
LeBron.
say, LeBron. Who brought up LeBron?
I think you're trying to head on that because those are some of the criticisms that LeBron gets sometimes. So I know you're trying to head that way. But the thing with Mike was that he obviously is the greatest basketball player that ever played. LeBron James, and I'm a LeBron fan, I think he's the best basketball player in the league right now. But we're talking about league and greatest. Michael was the greatest basketball player. He was the greatest in '93 when he retired from the game. And then when he came back, he just really separated himself from the Magics, from the Kareems, from the Birds, with the extra 3 rings that he got from 96, 96, and 98. That's just how I feel. But, you know, Michael Jordan does make the right play. Look at some of those closeout games in Game 6 that he had in the finals. He does make the right play, Nick.
All right, Antoine, let me ask you a little bit more about I'm sure you've never thought about the LeBron part, Nick. Twan, your Celtics went 1-3 against the Bulls in Jordan's final season. You had a pretty respectable run. You averaged 24 and 10 a game. As a kid who grew up in Chicago yourself, what was it like playing against Jordan? There, you can see the numbers there. What was it like playing against Jordan in his final season? Give us some insight.
It was great. I was the first year, I would say I was nervous, scared, excited about playing against them because I was a rookie and I grew up for the first 3 championships rooting for him. So now I get into my second year, all that stuff was kind of out the window, and I was focused on trying to beat them. So I got the first game of that season. That's something that I could hold my hat on. But they were great. They were great defensively. The thing that I took away from playing against them was how good that Michael Jordan was in those games. Real easy for him to score, get to the free throw line, how easy the game was for him at his age. Didn't have to really work hard to get 30 points. He would make 5 or 6 jump shots, get to the free throw line. It didn't have to be this spectacular plays for him to get 30. So those are some of the things that I was really impressed with. And obviously their defense. Their defense was incredible. Scottie and Dennis Rodman were terrific on the defensive end. And Dennis Rodman was the strongest human being I ever played against. It was very difficult for me to post him up, to go against him. So those are like some of the things that stand out to me, you know, when I played against them. But I did get one, though. You got to give me a little credit. Opening night, I did get one. They didn't have Scottie Pippen. They didn't have Scottie Pippen opening night, but I did get me one. That's something I can hold my hat on.
That counts, Antoine.
That's yours. We'll give it to you, Antoine, for sure. All right, so last night's 2 episodes were my 2 favorites so far by a long shot. If you missed any part of it, though, we've got you covered. Kevin Wildes now with the Last Dance Awards for literally everything in 60 seconds or less. Not less, just definitely 60 seconds. Yeah. Kevin, your clock starts now.
Thank you, Jenna. The award for They Feel Like Old Friends and You're Happy to See Them goes to Keith Van Horn and Kerry Kittles. Great to see those guys. The Upset Award goes to Dennis Rodman for being on the Shirts team at the Warner Brothers scrimmage. A surprise there. The Wilds You Might Be Onto Something award goes to, get this, Jordan's criticism of Scott Burrell was particularly harsh because Burrell was drafted by the Mariners out of high school and the Blue Jays after his freshman year at UConn. So Jordan knew that Burrell was a better baseball player than him, and it always aided him. Little conspiracy theory, but I'm buying it. The award for You Should Have Said Hello to Me at Dinner goes to George Carl. Congratulations, George. Crisscross Award goes to Jordan's backward shorts. The Interesting Sneaker Trivia Award goes to Nick DiPaula, who noted that Nick Anderson was wearing Jordan 10s when he stole the ball from Jordan, who was wearing Jordan 11s. The award for Best Name Pop, George Kohler, personal assistant and best friend. The what? Award goes to Scottie Pippen, who says he wishes it didn't happen, but also wouldn't change anything about sitting out the final play. Best Sign Award, Legalized Kemp, and the Pathetic Optimism Award, Nick. New York basketball fans, in the reply to LeBron's tweet that said, man, ain't nothing like Madison Square Garden. That started the LeBron to New York rumors, so that's the Pathetic Optimism Award. Congratulations to all the winners.
All right, if I may quickly
I
here,
love it. Bravo,
I would just like to
Wildes.
remind, it was a great job, Wildes, but I would just like to remind Antoine and Kevin, out of respect for Michael Jordan, the second greatest player of all time, if we could make this segment about him, Antoine's out here talking about LeBron, you're bringing up a LeBron tweet that's got nothing to do with it. I mean, give Jordan some due respect, if you would, please. But if I may add an award, the most detached from reality, Michael Jordan, for what he said about Gary Payton. Mike, nobody's taking away any of your rings. Gary Payton put the clamps on you, Mike. We saw the games. Show the numbers. Can we show what Jordan did pre and post Payton guarding him? First 3 games, when the brilliant George Karl's like, no, Gary Payton, best point guard defender ever, don't guard Mike. Mike kills you. Next 3 games, look at those points and percentages. Michael Jordan, in the 6 title run years, played 116 playoff